My guest at this time hosts many of the most popular pro wrestling podcasts on the planet. He has also launched adfreeshows.com. It is my final guest of 2020. Who better to shut it out than the man who may be taking over the pro wrestling business in 2021? It's Conrad Thompson. Conrad, welcome to the Daily.
Thanks for having me, man. You don't have to worry. I will not be taking over pro wrestling.
I don't know, man, because I know that your vibe right now is expansion, man. You're bringing more and more people into the fold. I feel like you've become this entity where you're on the move. You're on the grow right now, Conrad.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Of course, you're talking about adfreeshows.com. We've heard from our fans for a while now that your shows have too many ads. And, that's in part due to our great partnership with Westwood One and the success of the shows. But yes, we do have more ads than ever. So we acquiesced. And this year we created an ad free version of all of our shows. But I decided, hey, it needs to be more than that. It needs to be more than just the same shows without commercials. So we started to add to it, and we did some creative interactive stuff. And then I thought, well, let's bring in some other personalities and names, and people seem to be digging it. So we'll keep doing it.
Yeah, dude. I mean, in recent weeks, because of ad free shows, we've had the chance to chat with Mike Chioda, Gerald Briscoe. Most recently, we had Mance Warner. I mean, like I said, dude, like, how far do you want to take this thing? I mean, what's your goals here in 2021 for this project?
Well, we're going to continue to grow. We're going to be announcing 2 new podcasts real soon. One will be totally free and available for everyone on adfreeshows.com. It'll be exclusive there. And the other will be a traditional podcast like all my others. But there's some pretty big names and pretty interesting stuff. And actually, as we're recording this tomorrow, This Is Extreme will debut. So it'll be hosted by Josh Chernoff, a look back at ECW with guest Joel Gertner and Blue Meanie. And that'll be a regular part of the rotation too. So something for everybody. If you're into ladies wrestling, we got Medusa. If you're into the referee side of things, we got Kyoto. If you like a little old school, we got Briscoe. Now we got some ECW represented, but we're not done. 2 big announcements coming real soon for adfreeshows.com as far as recurring content on a weekly basis.
Oh man, you and CM Punk gonna go back watch classic ROH? Is that what we can look forward to?
How great would that be, by the way?
Right?
It would be fun to, if as fun as that would be, and it would be great. I think it would be even more fun to go back and watch like IWA with him, some old Ian Rotten shows.
Well,
He has some great stories from those.
Well, for sure. And you should go hook. You know Billy Wack? Are you familiar with Billy Wack?
Yes, I know the name. I know who he is. We haven't really hung out or anything.
Okay, well, I have. I worked with Billy here in Chicago, but he ran the LWF, which is where Punk broke in, right? Larry or Billy Wack, whatever you want to call him. It's really Larry. Spoiler alert. I don't know. Larry's got all those videos, man. He's looking for something to do with. He's looking for something to do with them. He owns the whole LWF archives. Not to put anything in your head, but like, yeah, it's out there. It's available.
That's cool stuff, man. Oh, speaking of archives, I just got confirmation, crossing my fingers, but it was shipped yesterday, and on Tuesday, I'm supposed to have all of Jim Ross's old radio shows from back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to throw that up on Ad Free Shows. I think that'll be fascinating to hear Jim on regular terrestrial radio.
Sure.
Talking old school wrestling. I think it'll be fascinating. Some of the guests, some of the conversations, wrestling wasn't as, out there in terms of, we were still trying to keep kayfabe and play it close to the vest. So it'll be a fun listen.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like, there's another project out there that I heard about recently. I thought about you. It's the Triple H and Stephanie hit the road and they find collectible stuff. I'm sure you're familiar with this show. Yes, it's like coming up on A&E.
Yeah, absolutely. They, I think they're shooting the finale at my house.
Okay. Well, that's what I was going to ask. Cause you've got like the giant dragon's mound of treasure over at your place when it comes to collectibles and things like that.
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I used to have more Flair robes than I do now, but I do think that Flair robes will be a part of it. But I assume they'll want to shoot the big gold belt and things like that. But we've had several dates scheduled that have had to be rescheduled for various reasons. But yeah, I still think the plan is at some point soon they'll be here and we'll shoot some stuff and it should be fun.
Awesome, dude. That's cool, man. That's really awesome. Yeah, I thought as soon as I heard about that show, I was like, oh man, the American Pickers of pro wrestling. I feel like they're going to wind up in Conrad's barn in the backyard.
I hope that it does really well. And I hope that there's multiple seasons. And I
Yeah.
hope the rumor and innuendo that we, got maybe slipped accidentally by Ric Flair is true, and we do get a physical Hall of Fame one day. That'd be like a wrestling fan's dream.
God, your father-in-law is the absolute best when it comes to interviews. Like, there's always something, like, no matter what the interview is with Rick, it's just something comes out where everyone's like, "Wait, what? Wait, thanks, Rick. We didn't know that until you
Oh,
said it just now."
yeah, I don't know that everybody's always tickled with that, but it's always great for us fans
Oh,
when we
totally.
yeah.
Totally, man. Well, switching gears here just a little bit. We can come back to the ad-free shows and stuff, but the big news obviously right now, and Conrad, I know you're very ingrained with the AEW roster and Tony and everybody. We had this Brodie Lee celebration of life last night, but what was your reaction to hearing this news this past Saturday of Brodie's passing?
Well, I mean, I don't know how tight I am anymore. I used to promote events, 3 or 4 times a year, and I would have to work really closely with all those guys. But this year, of course, it being so different, it's been a while. I mean, I think I've only been to, I think I went to 1 show. No, I went to 2 shows this year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not the same. But yeah, I heard back in October that he was not feeling good and was going to be at the Mayo Clinic, and they were trying to figure it out. And then in November, I got the update that it wasn't really looking much better, and they were still trying to figure it all out. And then I just sort of assumed that he was going to kick out. And when I got the heads up that that was the case, I reached out to a friend to confirm, and they were like, "Yeah, we just found out." I don't know, man. It was weird on a lot of levels. I've lost a lot of people this year. I counted the other day, 9 people that I knew really, really well. I lost this year, and that's the first time I've had that many. I mean, an uncle, a best friend, so many, and um, none of them were COVID related. And it turns out this one wasn't either, and that's a topic for another day, I'm sure. But he's 41, I'm 39. It's like that doesn't feel. No, it's just got way too much time, way too young. And, it just feels like just a couple of weeks ago, he was on TV entertaining us all, and now he's gone. So it was really tough to process, especially since, he was really one of our first like podcast supporters. He was one of the boys on the main roster, the active roster, to start following the show and DMing us and, getting the swag and the merch and all that. And to fast forward, and now he's having a whole new brand of success with AEW. I couldn't have been happier for him.
Yeah.
Golly, dude, just I would have never predicted that this would have been what we did the last 10 days or so.
No kidding, man. This has been like such. I mean, to a bad year, this was really the kick in the nuts. And like, I mean, but for you, I didn't know that you knew that far back. I mean, this was the most closely guarded secret in the entire business. I mean, how hard was that for you to know kind of what was going on and like, not have anybody really to talk about it outside of like a very specific kind of bubble, you know?
Well, I mean, I'm friends with I have co-hosts with podcasts,
Sure, that's true.
down there. So as we're catching up, once I found out, I would make it a point, every week to say, "Hey, man, how's Brodie doing?" But I understood very right up front. Hey, they don't want it out there. They're playing this really close to the vest, and I get that. Like on the one hand, you don't want. I don't know, man. I totally respect their privacy and their decision, and it's a shame that um, he's gone. And I'm
Yep.
just very respectful of anyone's wishes in that regard. So, and also too, maybe it's just because I'm an optimist, and maybe it's just because he was so young and it didn't feel like this was possible. I just assumed it's not a life or death situation. He'll pull out. He'll pull through. Whatever this is, they'll get to the bottom of it. They'll fix it, and he'll be fine.
Dude, yeah.
And it didn't happen.
Well, what did you think of the show last night? The celebration of life. I mean, I feel like this is a show you're gonna be talking about in 10 years and still be hearing different sides of this and like people's story about, what it was like to put this show together and be a part of this really historical moment in pro wrestling last night.
That's exactly what it was. It's the best, tribute to a wrestler that's ever been done. Certainly there's been, shows that were positioned as tribute shows, and certainly there's been segments and 10 bell salutes and all that, but never did we get something like we got last night. That was real. That was family. That was special. And props to Tony Khan and Cody and the whole crew. for putting that together, because it was something else, man. The moment where his son's in there and with the boots and the bandana, it was powerful stuff. And I don't know, man. It makes me sort of rethink my approach towards wrestling. And
Hmm.
I hope that a lot of other people maybe take that as maybe an example of what this could be. I feel like sometimes we get so caught up in little stuff that really doesn't matter, and to see that little boy have so much fun, that's what it's about. And it brought a lot of perspective, um, and clarity to me. So I appreciate everybody who participated in that.
One thing that I thought was cool last night on the show was the alignment of Sting and Darby Allin. And it was a really cool time for that to happen. Right on this show, we finally got to see these guys come together there. What do you think about Sting coming to AEW? I mean, obviously you've got to have some opinions on it. I know that you've been close to Sting for a while now.
Well, I mean, wouldn't say that I've been
Close, but
close to
you
him, but yeah,
worked with Sting together
yeah,
regularly.
yeah, yeah. I've done business with him, and he's a great guy and super professional. And it's I think the whole story was in 24 hours they broke the all-time T-shirt record. So it worked. And I know that some people have been critical of the decision to bring him in because it's like, oh well, what can he do? What can he do? He can give you the rub, and he can sell some T-shirts. This is going to get some fans who might not normally watching and introduce some new characters and make some money selling some merchandise along the way. I was super excited to see Sting on the show. I'm glad he's there. The pairing with Darby Allin makes all the sense in the world to me. I'll never forget the first time I showed Megan AEW, and it may have been like Fight for the Fallen, but whenever he wrestled Cody and they went to the time limit draw, that
Right.
was the first time she saw Darby Allin, like in the ring. We had him before at an event, I think, but it was the first time she saw like his whole overall presentation. And Megan's not a big wrestling fan, surprise, but she looked at me and she said, "Oh, this is their Sting." And at the time, I thought, what a weird observation and takeaway that this is their Sting. But I didn't say that. So I said, "How so?" And she said, "Well, I mean, he's young and he paints his face and he appeals to the kids. In the 80s, it was all about neon colors and all that. Now it's about tattoos and sort of the goth look, for lack of a better word."
Okay.
And I thought, okay, all right, she just nailed it. That he is sort of AEW Sting. And I don't know that I would have made that correlation had it not been for her. So when Sting's there and they put him with Darby, I'm like, Megan knows more about wrestling than I do. How about this?
Well, I mean, she comes from a pedigree,
Yeah, she's learned a thing or two, right?
I think it's genetic. I think you just like are born with good wrestling observations if you've got Flair blood. So
Yeah.
no. What do you think? Should Sting be Darby Allin's dad? Should that be where they go with this? I'm kind of like softly kind of hoping that it's a reveal that Sting is Darby Allin's dad at some point.
No, I really hope that's not the case, but it would be a hilarious spoof if they wanted to do something on Being the Elite with it one day, maybe. But
Okay.
I really hope that's not the creative.
Maybe his dad is NWO Sting.
Oh
So
my God. It's probably good that you just report on the biz and don't actually write the creative.
come on, I'll shoot a DM to Tony. It's fine. I'm in the room. I mean, like I mean outside the room, right? I'm actually down the hall.
I'm sure he'll at least respond. Hey, we'll keep that in mind.
Thanks,
Thanks for everything.
appreciate that. Let me see here. Charlotte is back. What did you think of her return at TLC and her pairing with Asuka?
I mean, I'm excited to see, where this all leads. We're getting to, when we start getting into WrestleMania season. So as that approaches, I'm excited to see what happens before the Rumble, what happens at the Rumble, what happens in the fallout from the Rumble. And I think, the WrestleMania plans will reveal themselves. And WrestleMania in and of itself right now is probably a little bit up in the air with everything happening with, COVID, and we don't really know what will be possible then. But this is where the real plans start to reveal themselves. And I'm excited to see what that is. But I thought she looked great. I think she looks better than ever physically. You can tell that she's got everything dialed in. Her confidence looked great. She looked awesome. And I like the idea of pairing her with Asuka. Of course, she was the first person to defeat Asuka at WrestleMania in New Orleans a few years ago. So I like that little piece. And I wonder how long this lasts, and is this building to something else? I don't ask. I don't have any inside information,
Sure.
but I do think, given their history, it's interesting, and it makes me wonder. Okay, now what's next?
I mean, I think that we see something at the Rumble, and then I think we're going to see him at Mania. I think it's just written in the stars. It seems like it'd be too fun and too easy to do. That's just maybe me. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, she's back. She's with Asuka. We're heading into the Rumble. I mean, it's a wide open field this year. Do you have any favorites? We'll start with the men's. Do you have somebody you'd like to see go on to the Royal Rumble or win the Royal Rumble this year?
I'm not sure. I have to admit, I'm not as excited about the concept of a Royal Rumble without a crowd as I might normally be. I think the crowd usually makes the Rumble for me,
Yeah, totally.
and it's going to be so weird without it. We were blessed with a big WrestleMania last year, and I'll never forget, our man coming out
Oh,
and Lesnar saying, "Oh, he's a big motherfucker." That was so good, and I'm so excited to see that Keith Lee's getting his chance and getting his moment to shine. And I'm curious what they'll do with him. If they weren't sort of already progressing a storyline, I would think that he might be my favorite, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they do it with no fans, or at least less fans, because that Rumble crowd, man, they made it.
yeah, totally. I'm with you, man. It is going to be weird to watch the Rumble this year with no fans, like hear everybody counting down and reacting to the surprises and stuff. And what about on the women's side? Is there anyone that you think deserves to step up and take on either of the champions here at WrestleMania?
Well, listen, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what the creative is, but you got to think with the big return that we saw last year with Edge, there's going to be a big return somewhere. And it makes me wonder, is it possible?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably too soon, but is it possible that it's Becky Lynch?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you could do the Royal Rumble in front of a big crowd, they would go, as Pat used to say, banana.
Yeah, for sure. Or a Ronda, right?
Sure. I mean, but again, I don't know that it would be a big surprise pop for Ronda for sure. But
Yeah,
I don't think it would be near I mean, if they had a crowd, Becky Lynch would come back to a Road Warrior pop.
right. Yeah, and I mean, there's like some stuff you just want to kind of sit on. I would think that you just don't.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. On the one hand, it's like, do we wait and hold this? And I kind of thought when, guys like Brodie and Matt Hardy were popping up in AEW for the first time, and then FTR, would this have been better had we waited until we had a full house of fans? But the reality is, we don't know when that's going to be. So because we don't know, the show must go on. We got to do something. It is a catch 22, sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't. But I really do hope if and when Becky comes back, we get a crowd reaction, because that's going to be one that people talk about. Like, people still talk about when Hunter came back at the Garden in '02. It was bananas. I mean, that pop just went on and on and on because people missed him, and people have missed Becky this year, and they're still pulling for her. And obviously, congrats to her and Seth for their new blessing. But I really hope that when that happens, there's a crowd.
All right. Lastly, your Conrad. I mean, vaccinations have started rolling out. It sounds like, I mean, AEW is bringing fans back. It looks like it may not be very far on the horizon for WWE. Have you made any movement with Starrcast? Is there any plans to maybe get something going here in 2021 or no?
Yeah, we're gonna wait and see what happens. When I don't mind sharing that when I finished Starrcast in Chicago, whatever, no, 3, in 2019, I went ahead and reserved the building and the hotel for 20 and 21. So I have a hold there for 2021, but I don't know what that's going to look like. Normally we would try to announce something like that, as early as we could.
Right.
I don't know that we'll be all the way back to normal by late August. I'd like to think we would, but I still don't know. But if we are, yeah, I would love to do at least one more just to say that we did it. And I love our great partners there, the folks at the Hyatt in Schaumburg. They're just tremendous. I'd love to work with them again. I know that building like the back of my hand now, and it's so much fun to get together with everybody that we work with, putting these shows together. It is stressful that weekend, but it's so fun to create. And I'd like to do it at least one more time, but I don't know that it's possible this next year. So we're going to wait and see. I don't think I'll be faced with the option of being the first one. I'm sure that Michael Bakikio over at High Spots is itching to do a WrestleCon.
Oh yeah.
So if he's successful with doing something like that, WrestleMania, then yeah, we'll probably figure out how to do a Starrcast. But If he waits, I think everybody else is going to wait. He's sort of the leader in that space with WrestleCon. It's become the brand and synonymous with WrestleMania weekend. And if there's not a WrestleCon WrestleMania weekend, it's going to be a weird year.
I love that twice you said you'd like to maybe do one more if you could. I mean, Conrad, I feel like it's always just one more. Every time we've talked about these Starrcasts the last couple times, one more. I don't know if I'll do another one. I feel like one more might lead to another. It's kind of like being at the bar with Rick, I would think, you know?
I like the idea of continuing them, but if I'm honest with you, this has been a crazy year, not only, COVID related, but mortgage related, interest rates as a result of everything that happened bottomed out. So our business was bigger than ever this year. And I literally have if I could have done a Starcast this year, I didn't have time to do it.
Oh my God.
And I don't know that will change next year. I hope it doesn't, because that's great, on that side of my business for not only my family, but all the families that we help provide for. So knock on wood, I hope that continues. But if it gets back to normal levels, and it is possible where I could try to juggle the podcast, the mortgage deal, and the convention, I'd like to do one more, but I really do think that's probably got to be it for a variety of reasons. Number one, uh, I haven't talked to AEW about doing another Starcast, because who knows if that's even ever viable again.
Mm-hmm.
But I imagine at some point they're probably going to want to just do their own thing. And
mention that from the get-go.
Yeah, I just assumed I'm on borrowed time, so like if I'm not doing it with them, and the other thing is I don't want to, I'm sort of in the middle, right? So I'm best friends with Bruce, best friends with Tony and Arn and JR. So I'm sort of in the middle. But if I continue down one path or the other, I'm going to piss off somebody. So it's just easier for me to just do podcasts and mortgages. But if AEW said, we happy with everything we did, but we'd really kind of like to do it on our own. Okay, cool. I get that. But then am I going to piggyback their event and bring in WWE talent? That's not really that cool. So I'm just saying there's more to it than just, does Conrad want to? There's the element of time, and then what's politically okay and acceptable for everyone involved.
I gotcha. Yeah. I mean, you do one more. What do you think? Do you think you could get Vince? You think Vince would do it?
Would Vince come to a convention?
Yeah. Would he do a Starcast? I mean,
no, Vince would not come to a convention.
No.
No.
What about Shane? You think you get Shane?
No.
No Shane?
No.
No Steph?
Now, let me be clear about this. Am I doing am I doing a Starcast piggybacking an AEW event? Because they're definitely not coming to that. If I was doing a convention piggybacking a WWE event, I mean, I guess there's a chance I could call in a favor with Bruce and try to beg, borrow, and deal and negotiate, but it's not likely. But there's no chance in hell, see what I did there, that he would show up at an AEW weekend.
Got to pay him an Okada bucks. Right?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Come on. Conrad, thank you so much for being my last guest of 2020. This was a lot of fun.
Hey, can we agree that 2021 is going to be better?
Oh, I think we can agree that 2021 is going to be better. It can't be worse.
I don't know that I want to commit to that. It can't be worse.
Yeah.
Look, we might be setting ourselves up for disappointment there.
Yeah, we're wrestling fans, Conrad. Eternal optimists. It's always going to be better. They're always going to turn it around. Fresh start, my friend.
I need you to get some of that eternal optimism to rub off on Tony Schiavone.
Okay. Shivani's killing it right now. What are you talking about? He's all over AEW.
No, he is, but he is negative AF off air.
Yeah, the last time I interviewed him, all he talked to me about was death and how time is moving too quickly and he's wrapping up and what a beautiful end to this. It's like, Tony, man, you got a beautiful life here. You gotta live in the moment, man.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I agree. He's, there was an exact quote from our show a few weeks ago where he says, "This has been the best year of my life and I'm so depressed about it." What? How is this the best year of your life and you're depressed about it? Only Tony Schiavone. Tony Schiavone would win the lottery and bitch about the taxes. That's who he is.
Well, I mean, I'm sending my best out there. Tony's always been good to me. So
I appreciate that.
Sad to hear that he is that he's depressed. Again, he's killing it right now, man. He's doing 4-5 segments of the show on top of the commentary duties right now. So,
well, here's the deal. He's probably depressed because he has to sit in catering with Taz, and that'll get to you eventually.
You want to talk about Taz and AEW? These guys get beat up all the time now. And they always saying negative things about him on TV.
I don't know that I would be saying that too loudly, because he will come to your house and drop you on your freaking head.
That's true. It's true. He will. I mean, look, again, Taz is very cool to me. I'm just saying, you know.
I think the line is, I can't bump, but I can still bump other people, bro. So yeah, I don't want to be one of those other people.
Taz would kill me, no doubt about it. Right? I'm
Yeah.
not speaking ill of Taz. Taz is a wonderful performer. So
We should get that as a chant at one of our live shows when we can do those again.
what?
Taz is gonna kill you. Just old school ECW.
Yeah, dude. I mean, like you're embracing ECW now. Maybe Tony can embrace ECW a little bit more than he already does. It's part of his product.
I'm for it. I'm for it. And hey, man, I appreciate all you guys did this year. It was a weird year, so I think a lot of us hardcore fans, we really doubled down, and you guys have been cranking out the content over there, and we're very appreciative.
Oh, we're just trying to do our best to cover the business, Conrad. We cover y'all's shows, we cover the news. There's a lot. It was yeah, I mean, on a content creator side of it, it was a really weird year for pro wrestling because, first of all, just happy to be making any money and having a consistent job right now in this economy. And then when you're like, okay, well, cool, you get to keep working, like you start to think, like, what value am I bringing to this world right now? Like, it's not just a paycheck anymore. It's like you gotta be bringing something to the table. And so, like, yeah, to have that connection with the fans where, like, 10 minutes at a computer top where you can kill some time reading the news or 7.5 hours listening to one of your deep dives with Bruce Pritchard, it's nice to just be able to help people in 2020 get a little reprieve. Very fortunate to be able to do that,
Roll Tide on that, pal. I totally agree.
Yeah, brother. All right, Conrad, where do you want to send people to find you, follow you, support you, all those great things?
You know the deal, man. I'm on Twitter. Hey, it's Conrad. If you want to check me out there, if you're looking to buy or refinance, maybe you overspent on Christmas a little bit, or maybe 2021's the year to get in the house, I can hook you up there at savewithconrad.com. And if you'd like to hear any or all of our shows and all the cool bonus content we're creating, you can check it out at adfreeshows.com. Oh, and by the way, Nick, I forgot to mention, I did an interview this week with somebody that nobody's heard from in a long time. And it's going to be coming out real soon. I'm pumped for you to see it. I'll send you a screener.
Okay, please do. Wait, if that's the tease, you're not going to say who it is. You're just going to say, I got a big interview with somebody who hasn't talked in a long time. That's it?
Yep. That's it. But here's the deal. Last time I did this, it was Jim Hurd. So it's got to be pretty good, right?
Well, when are you dropping it? Because we're probably not going to drop this till Tuesday or Wednesday.
It'll be in January. It'll be in a few weeks. So you're getting the scoop here. I haven't told anybody.
Okay, fine. All right. Big tease. Conrad's got a big mystery interview. Okay, cool. And that's great. We'll end this interview with a tease for another interview.
You know what? I'll try to hook you up with him so you can get a few minutes too.
Appreciate it, Conrad. Be well, man. Have a happy new year.
Thanks, bud. You too.